Thanks everyone for coming. I'm Joon, I'm one of the co-founders of Pentaform, and this is my co-founder Sam.
I'm Sam, we're based at the Royal College of Arts. I went to uni at Central St. Martin's. I did product before, I don't know if you guys know Marc Newson. And then I realized, you know what, I didn't want to, I did computer science first and I dropped out. I'm from Indonesia. And I thought, you know what, I want to design the products. So made something like the ZX Spectrum, but not really. I think it's hard to explain the full thing, so I just thought we'll just play the video. I think a lot of people enjoyed the journey as well on the Kickstarter. So yeah, and then we'll have a PowerPoint after. And a special thank you to everyone who's been following us. Finally, we've got our production models here, and it's great. It's fully working and intact. For those who are new to us, my name is Wangsaputra, and at Pentaform, we make a full-size desktop computer compressed into a keyboard, or this little bit here, actually. Anyways, welcome, and enjoy the rest of the video. We will make computing accessible, bringing the wealth of human knowledge and innovation to everyone's fingertips. In the pursuit of this, we have reimagined what a computer can be. Our research shows that the majority of households already have access to a screen. In an unprecedented design shift, we have removed it, reducing the product footprint by 75%, liberating the user to make full use of their existing screens. The Abacus comes in two great finishes. One in clear, like those retro Game Boys made out of polycarbonate, and the other one comes in a really nice recycled ABS. The Abacus is ready out of the box. It's super easy to turn on. All you need is an HDMI, and you just plug it in around there, and a USB-C. See the blue light turning on? It should be loading. Let me show you how familiar it is. It's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, an Intel quad-core chipset, and yet it only takes 3 watts of energy. It's super efficient. In fact, we're running it on a power bank. As you can see, the Abacus is very capable. For those who need cloud computing, it runs great VMs like Shadow. It pairs perfectly with your MIDI controllers. For you gamers, this works with Xbox Live. It's also super durable. These polycarbonates and ABS plastics are robust. Our revolutionary form factor has set a new benchmark for environmental tech.
I do make all of my presentations on the Abacus.
The traditional kind of Excel, Word and PowerPoint.
I actually do have a monitor at home that I don't use.
Now I take this portable Windows PC to the workshop and just plug it in directly over there.
Scan. Loading page. Address and search bar. DuckDuckGo privacy. Simplify. Search the web without being tracked. Edit. Loading complete. Scan off. Loading page. Pentaform and DuckDuckGo. Scan. Loading complete.
I think it's definitely, it does what it says on the tin, right?
Inside of the Abacus is an x86 chip that allows you to run any OS you want it to, combined with all the ports you ever need.
And if you take it off, you've got a full GPIO port.
We've also made sure that the design is intuitive for home use. Using our own Infinite Connect technology, the keyboard works fully wirelessly without the need for Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. This means that your keyboard is paired right out of the box. For a small price, this is a fully fledged computer for home, educational and professional uses.
Technology has revolutionized our world and transformed our daily lives. Despite this, the benefits doesn't touch everyone equally. I saw firsthand the importance of creating eco-conscious and accessible computers. We caught up with trash heroes who showed us the problem of plastic waste for the local people. We also met with young people who spoke of the problems they face and the opportunity that digital freedom offers them. That's why we at Pentaform are on a mission to close the global digital divide.
We have big dreams here at Pentaform in shaping the way we interact with the world. For the past few years, we really worked hard on making the product great. We're not like the majority of other Kickstarters. Our product is actually ready. So a special thank you to all the external engineers, investors, and of course the Royal College of Arts for supporting us since day one. Thank you.
Yeah, so we founded Pentaform 3 years ago. We started in 2019. Our team has previously have experience building world-class products and other digital services used by 1 million+ people.
So I think before I did this, I worked with Apple before at Cupertino, and then Marc Newson. I guess we all met in the same room, but with Marc Newson it was more of like furniture and mostly client projects, where at Apple it was to do with more like haptic feedbacks and the materiality of the products.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is that there's nowadays, to access knowledge economy, access to computers is a basic human right. So you can't learn, you can't do any sort of knowledge work without a PC. So a lot of people thought a phone would take over. Phones are great for communication and consumption, but it's not great for creation. That's why we created a super affordable PC.
Like, I'm from Indonesia. I mean, I've been here for 9 years after uni. But when I went back home, I realized loads of the problem is the internet exists, or they have Android phones, and they're great, you know, but all you do is consume. You go on Instagram, you go on Facebook. You could communicate as well, but imagine creating just a Word document or a PowerPoint on a phone. Kind of sucks, right? And they don't have the hardware for it. So it is available, but it's at £300 cheapest, and ours is at 129. So it kind of gives them accessibility from the pricing aspect of it.
And I think what's really exciting is I'm initially from Korea, and we saw like how the country transformed from 50 years ago to become one of the wealthiest countries. And I see the same thing, but with bigger population, especially in Southeast Asia, where we're going to see 4.2 billion people who are going to come online, and they're going to be the largest consumers of digital products and services. That's also super exciting as well.
So I think the problems in Indonesia are the usability of current, the form factor now, you kind of only have a laptop or a desktop or an all-in-one PC, which are great for the majority of the market, but Indonesia is huge. It's the largest Muslim country in the world, and no one really targets it. I guess Lenovo, I've heard them talking about it, and Lenovo is very big in Indonesia, but I think our product's kind of different because usability, they all work in the living room. They don't have a special room to study or anything. Distribution, you can't really see it, but that's the bridge to get into loads of villages, and you're gonna have this 125cc motorbikes. I ride motorbikes just fine, but going through a bridge that drops 50 meters down, you're using a motorbike. You're not carrying desktops, you're not carrying laptops. But with the product, I do have the product. So with these, they're really small. So I think the size does matter, right? They could just pack it up, and it's very durable. Like this polycarbonate, you could just kind of tuck it, and it's fine. And it's really important for them because they go through rough journeys when they go home or go to schools, and that's something that we don't experience. Engineers here and designers here don't experience it, but I was taught in uni, and I think you gotta, just like what you said, you gotta know the consumers, right? So that's what we did. We looked through it and realized, okay, durability is really important. Usability, we realized they're all in the living room. They have DVDs that would play PDFs for like 30 seconds for each page. Just use that. And obviously we made it work with CRT TVs because 95% of the market already owns TVs, but it might be those old cathode ray or plasma. They don't have HDMIs. So it doesn't work with those TVs. Price point, as I said, just lowering it down for us maybe, it's cheap, but over there people, I think the minimum wage is equivalent to £150 a month. And they usually have around 3 to 4 kids. And so every pound counts. And you could reduce the cost by not having a display, which I think everyone knows in hardware that display is really expensive, especially on netbooks. It's the most expensive part. All they need is just a monitor at home. They don't mind it. And durability, yeah, I guess I chucked it already. It's pretty tough. Polycarbonates are super tough. But unfortunately, it's hard to recycle. So it's either you choose a model that could last forever. And the great thing is, when you upgrade, you just upgrade this bit. You don't need to upgrade the whole product. Or you have these recycled ABS versions. I think recycled ABS, maybe the fitting is not perfect. It just means it has to be thicker. But because of our form factor, it's fine to be thicker. It's not a laptop. We're not competing in being thin. We don't really have competitors just yet. Yeah, so in that sense, on top of that, we just look at the world problems in general because we believe that we get to design something, you make loads of the decisions. So if it doesn't cost too much more and you could still fit in profit, I think that's somewhat a responsibility as a designer and engineer. So looking at the carbon waste, yeah, having a small board means it takes way less energy, 75% less. It only runs at like 2.38 watts, which is negligible. Just the board is so much smaller that you have way less waste, right, in comparison to a full ATX board. And also, the recycled ABS, we're doing that from the start. I think just because of the form factor, it's much easier for us to use recycled ABS and still making it robust. Not truly affordable. Yeah, I think loads of products out there, like mini PCs, you gotta buy a mouse, you gotta buy a keyboard, and then in Indonesian's demography, they might just buy a mouse that is not USB or something, and they can't do returns, so they end up wasting money by not having the right peripherals. Or we just put everything to one, and usually it ends up being cheaper anyway because it's all in one unit, except for the display. External support, so we realize that, ooh, yeah, that's a problem. No one's gonna come into their house, right? But also carrying your laptop or desktop away, not the most convenient thing. Just mail it. You just mail it, and that's it. And then they mail it back after they fix it. So it sounds stupid, but it's the simplest way, and they could do it right now. And to do with a high running cost, I think it's more the electricity bit. Electricity is quite expensive in Indonesia. But we are buying oil from Russia, so I don't know why it's still expensive, but I don't work in politics, so yeah. So being at 2.20, when it's on idle in comparison to a full desktop PC, it takes 22 times less energy, but it is also way less powerful. But for those markets, they don't need a powerful desktop. And also, in the same time, I think what we're talking about is the hardware should be, I mean, I shouldn't be saying this in a hardware show though, right? We believe that the hardware should be as minimum as possible to do your daily tasks. Like I buy MacBooks and I build a PC as well to render, but I only use those services 10% in the week. Why not just rent them? Why not go to Shadow? Or that's what our vision is, that we have a very basic hardware. All you do is you just rent the extra power you need when you need it. Maybe for me it's 10% of the time, and I think that's already a lot. I think I've gone over it already. So yeah, so in terms of product itself, when you split it open, you've got a form factor similar to Raspberry Pi, and we've got a GPIO below it as well, because I think in education, they want to put like tops, like Pi tops or any other accessories on top of it, and the GPIO is very similar to a Pi, so I hope it would be easier for them to work with it. We've got, for example, knowing the market, we've got great Wi-Fi's because we realize that they like to steal Wi-Fi from their neighboring service. Or there's cafes around, they just take the Wi-Fi from the cafe because they want to save every penny. Great cooling unit. You don't really need that much cooling on these small stuff, but it's really hot there. It's like 30 degrees winter. So yeah, so cooling's great on it. We've got loads of space spare, and with a full-size keyboard, there's a trackpad. I love the Raspberry Pi 400, but missing the trackpad, you gotta carry around a mouse, it's a bit awkward. And the great bit that it comes apart is that you could set it up with a projector or a TV in your living room, and you take the keyboard to your sofa, which makes absolute sense, instead of having a 3-meter long cable with your Pi or an extra Bluetooth keyboard with it.
So I think we've had like a lot of organic traction and people who really resonated with the product. We raised around like 400k US, depending on what the exchange rate is on the day.
But that's not what the Kickstarter is different though.
Yeah.
It's not. It's before the Kickstarter.
Yeah, and then there was our community is a really big fan. Someone made an entire cake for 10 hours with their hand etched all the buttons, and I think it's quite amazing to see a lot of different use cases. Like for example, in the US, there's a gentleman saying he's a sort of site engineer for Verizon, and they download blueprints and then put it up on a 27-inch computer. So,
in their cars. On site.
So they need a solution like this. So I think it's something interesting that we can sort of explore as we grow the company.
So it's funny because we're focusing Indonesia and the Indonesian market, but we thought we could, as you said, we could go for the first adopters. And we thought, you know what, Kickstarter is getting really boring, right? I used to buy loads of things on Kickstarter. I mean, I only back like 25 projects. There's some people that we talk to that has backed like over 300 projects. I'm thinking, what is going on? 300 projects? You probably own Kickstarter by then. But yeah, so we launched a Kickstarter, and I think that's a great start, especially for hardware. I know, but the thing that we've been told, and we really realize it now, is it's really your first adopter. So don't think just because your sales in the first 30 days is like 330k, that's going to happen again when you move to Shopify, because they're totally different consumers. The people who buy on Kickstarter, they're buying on Kickstarter anyway, and they're buying the least boring thing on that month. So yeah.
But we also got like a lot of like organic press, like 30 plus, and I know some people, like some of my friends are saying they were quoted like 5k for these publications. So it's quite good that I feel like people really resonated with the mission and like kind of including TechCrunch, Hypebeast, Tom's Hardware, etc.
Part of the design as well. I keep on talking about design because that's kind of my background. I love Nespressos because whenever they create a new product line, it all stays with their machines, right? That's why they could drive the machines down, because you're really buying the pods, and the pods are kind of really expensive for what it is. So same thing with our product. Oh, it doesn't show that well, but in between them, we'll be making SSDs for it, like speakers with Dolby Atmos, or even the whole keyboard is actually like a piano MIDI controller, like Lumi, and it just fits in. And even we could make a DLP projector right in between it. That'll be really cool. So loads of our accessories will be stuck in between them.
And we also see like all the really iconic hardware companies like Apple, Tesla, Toast, etc. They also have software as a way to keep the customers in. And I think this is really insight that we had. We want to make the hardware as cheap as possible so that people can also access the software on top of it.
And maybe one day free. So they just rent the services on top of it.
Yeah. And as we discussed, we're trying to work on a really easy to use consumer hardware at consumer cloud. Like a lot of people in our community has requested this, and I feel like a lot of cloud software like AWS is really hard for average people to use. I think it literally just needs to be make an account and then you can use it anytime, like log in rather than like launch an instance or anything like that. I think.
So we tried it with Xbox Live, works really well because it's on Windows 10. Shadow works really well as well, and split screen.
Great.
Yeah, that's it.
If you have any questions.
Anyone got any questions or anything like that? So, you've done really well, like, to get where you got to, really well. I'm sure you know that. How do you now scale? Because I can see you're already getting excited about the new products. But yeah, how are you thinking you're going to scale?
Yeah, so I don't think in the next year we'll be making a new product, right? So in the UK, I think, or in generally, no, our target market is still Indonesia, but it's just, yeah, I've met a few people like in the government, and it's just they wanted to kind of sell abroad first, and they don't really. The funny thing is here, you know, to do with education, they want reliability. If something goes wrong, who's responsible, right? Down there, they don't really care because it's cheaper price. They have a higher budget for it. I don't know where the gap goes, but I don't mind it. Someone will sort it out. So I think what we need to do is we need to prove it out here. That's what we're doing. Kickstarter, it's sold out. And we need to see more articles and more videos out there just for them to realize that, oh, it's just a normal PC, that we can replace our current, it's not even HP or Dell, they don't even have the money for that. It's usually like, I don't know if you know B-Link mini PCs, that's what we're trying to go against. So as long as we can somewhat compete with them, they'll buy it just because it's cheaper and it's all in one unit, and the students can take it home and back to school again.
The consumption pattern we see a lot is like a lot of people, just like there's, when you go to China, like there's fake kind of Western brands you've never heard of. Or like when you're in a lot of Asian countries, you rather drive like a BMW or Porsche instead of like a local car. So I think it's very similar here. A lot of people want to see the success abroad. And also after the Kickstarter, we did get a lot of inbounds for the wholesalers. So we got like our first B2B sale in Vietnam, etc. That we sent. So we're just kind of figuring that out. But I think the key is to get to like scale and volume, especially in the US market. So at the moment, we're just like kind of speaking to our core audience and looking at how we should position this and seeing what kind of sort of demographic is best to go after. That's sort of where we're at.
Yeah, it's like as simple as stupid as we realize that the easiest conversion is people who have smart homes. Like if they've bought Alexa, they've bought, or even, you know, a more advanced smart home, you're gonna be kind of committed, right, to have a smart home because you're gonna plug it in, you're gonna change your lights and everything. They buy these stuff. When they see it, it's a drunken purchase. So we're like, okay, those guys, let's unleash the ads on those guys. And funnily enough, it's kind of like me. I tend to buy loads of things for no reason, and I might not like it, but I still keep it because I'm like, that's kind of cool. And that's a sale, still, yeah.
Well, I also feel like the electronic industry is super conservative, and there is like a space for a really young brand that is very affordable, and well designed, and also like a secondary Windows PC. There's a huge market for it. A lot of people, especially in the States, maybe like for your core computer, you wouldn't use an Abacus. But like for something easy to do like Netflix or like just to take it away for like just travel, just for ad hoc use, a lot of people do love that concept behind it. So I think that's sort of the market we're targeting. So, but I think it's what Sam said is sort of we want to be the first step that enables people to get into something sort of. So I feel like a lot of electronics industry is becoming more expensive and fragile. And Sam said we want to make something that's super affordable, really robust. And it's a tool. It's like a calculator.
I think Apple made all electronics become a luxury, and I love it. I love Apple, but at the same time, what we're trying to do is make electronics a tool, just like a hammer or a screwdriver, you know, that any will do as long as it works.
And if it's targeted for particular, I mean, I'd buy one just to have on my PC for watching Amazon Prime, so I don't have to go and get a laptop. And if there's a projector on it, I might have one just for exhibitions. At that price point, I will stay in the box and I'll just take it for exhibitions.
Yeah.
So there's lots of niche market.
Yes, so like in the American market is people wanting to use it for smart homes, it's people running their 3D printers, it's those Verizon guys, so there's loads of application, but what we know is it's secondary PC. So it's not what we initially designed it for, but it makes sense, yeah.
I've got, you might not want advice. It's not advice, it's a story. It's a story. So there's a brand called Alec, it's a good friend of mine. They made Bluetooth headphones for skiing. And they launched on Kickstarter, did really well like you guys, I think over 500,000. And then he spent about 3 years just tanking. And he just couldn't get it off the ground in terms of just being a positive revenue generating business year after year, until he met someone in America that had basically sold products into Maplin.
Okay.
And there's electronic hardware stores over there, and he literally went from zero to doing probably over 10 million a year, and didn't do anything. Because you guys have done all the hard work, you've got your factory set up, you're able to ship at scale, you just need distribution. And he just struggled for ages not having that network of distribution. So just a little story for you, if you find someone that's sort of been there, done it, that's in that network, that knows all the buyers, and your product works, it could go to the moon. So.
Have you thought about your route to market in terms of, are you wanting it to be retail or are you wanting to sell through your own platform?
I think like long term, like wholesalers, I think like this kind of retail experience would be super helpful. but we just don't know how to approach it yet, because like a lot of people who kind of approaches us, they want like a big commitment. Like there's a store that wants like, they have 2,500 stores and they want 3 in every single store, and we have to pay up front, and we just don't know like what's the best way, or I think like home shopping networks in the US, I think they're also really big, so they reach out to us as well. So we're kind of navigating that, but you have experience.
Get someone that's been there and done it.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
What sort of production run sizes are you doing?
So now with our a month we could do 10K.
You could do, and and what are you doing? So do you actually say like we're doing 1,000, we're starting 1,000, we pay for it, we get it done?
Oh, right now.
Yeah.
So right now our mold and stuff are done. Great molds, 9-to-5 steel, inox. It's the building, and yeah, you could run 10,000 units in a year. Sorry, in a month. That's all done. We're trying to make our boards better because we think these Intel Cherry Trails are kind of slow when it heats up. So hopefully you see some AMD people today, and that's about it. And I think we're starting shipping it out on January 8th.
Are you going to ship the Kickstarter campaign, or is that?
Yeah, the Kickstarter campaign and all the other pre-orders from our Shopify.
Super. And I can't remember was it 1,500 backers on about?
Yeah, about 1,500.
Yeah, 566 or something.
Cool.
Yeah. But I think Lutheran bought more than one, right? That's how it got up higher in value.
Yeah, of course, because it's an add-on thing now. So how many are you going to make in this production?
Hopefully we can get to 3,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a healthy amount.
I think it has to be 5,000. That's what we're really targeting, the 3,000 minimum, because or else the factories wouldn't be bothered, really.
Cool. And then you'll have some spare to sell on your Shopify website, or how are you doing at the moment?
I think we just it's just pre-order. Anyone who wants to order, they need to wait. But a lot of people are willing to do that. I think they had a lot of questions, but I think they're willing to wait because I think it's a unique product. But I think let's see. Yeah.
I think our sales are all pre-orders. All the somewhat factory prototypes, or it's very near to the final product. They're all just samples for YouTubers. I mean, we're just repackaging it real nice and customizing it for them. And we're giving it to the distributors to test out. So we're just giving, I think, 5 units each. Some of them wants 10 units, so we're just distributing it as a test piece for them.
Cool, excellent. Right, I'm going to cut you off there because I know that I'm stopping now. But obviously we're around for the entire day and you've got a great time to meet up, mingle, chat, network. But yeah, it's a good round of applause please, Pentaform. And